Okay, just a quick demonstration about how remote processor group could be called from one NiFi cluster to another one. In the left side, we have the cluster number 1. We can see that we have 3 nodes of NiFi running. Here it is, the indicator. In the right side, we have the cluster number 2. Also have up to, or in a total, it has 3 NiFi nodes. You can distinguish node 1, cluster 1 and cluster 2, because cluster 1 uses the ports that starts with 30,000 and cluster 2 uses ports with port 31,000. Because here we have a number 3, it means this is the first NiFi instance. Okay, here you have the number 1. Yeah, we have 443. This is NiFi 1. 444, NiFi 2. 445, NiFi 3. Okay, the same thing happens in cluster 1. Okay, cluster 1, NiFi 1, 2, and 3. 43, 44, 45. Yeah, I'm not going to connect to those NiFi instances. By the way, if I do it, let me just demonstrate it. If I go here, open a new tab and just change this number, and then of course I will have to log in, and I don't remember the password, but I'm going to pick it up. That dummy password, here it is. If I log in, have the same flow. Yeah, here I am in the in the NiFi 2, yeah, 44, NiFi 1, 43, because I logged in there. The problem, it is not the concurrency. The problem it is I cannot share the token, the login token, so the 2 sessions of 2 nodes of NiFi in the same browser. Because of that, I had to re-log in the node 1 of the cluster 2. Doesn't matter in which node I send the messages, because the NiFi cluster balance the load automatically. Okay, let me explain the flow that I have in the left side. It is a completely dummy flow just for demonstrating how it works. Here I have generate flow file. This generate flow file, the only thing that it has, it is a custom text with the text hello world. Then it is sent to update attribute, where I create a request ID attribute with a UUID generated. So it's a correlation ID generated here. And then I create a string attribute called role, which is which has the value request. Yeah. Then this message is sent to the merge content and is sent to this RPC. Okay, it is just drag and drop this processor here. And for configuring that, I am referring to cluster 02, NiFi 1, imb.local. So it is an public URL, a public fully qualified domain name, yeah, for accessing cluster 2 from outside Docker containers. Why is that necessary? Because as I explained it in the other video where I talk about the architecture, cluster 1 and cluster 2 are not visible between them if they don't use, let me say, regular networks. Networks outside Docker, okay? Not internal Docker networks interconnect those 2 nodes. Because of that, I have to use this host fully qualified domain name that it is mapped to another Docker network internally, where I have the cluster of those, the cluster 2. For exchanging the context communication of site to site, I use HTTP. I can use raw. By the way, I am using HTTP for exchanging the context, not for exchanging the data. Okay, the data is always going to use always the site-to-site port, yeah, which is a different port. As we can see here, everything is okay. Why is that so relevant? This is relevant because when I am connecting this relationship, let me stop that for a second. I will stop it here. I remove the kiwi. Oh no, sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry. I want to take a look here. It says 2C01. C01 is that input port that I have here. Okay. Let me stop the transmissions. I will stop it here. And then when I am connecting this with that, okay, here it's very important that we see here C01, which is that port. If I have multiple input ports in the cluster 2, they have to be visible in that drop-down menu. Yeah, this is mandatory. Then, thanks to that, when I am connecting this is like an output port that connects to that remote processor group. If I start these nodes, you will see how every 10 seconds a new message with hello world text, hello world content is sent to this remote process group. The remote process group receives that here, where the only thing that I am doing is replace text. So I replace hello world by for bye bye. Okay. Then when it returns, okay, this is sent to update attribute, where I change the role. Remember, the role was request. I change the role to response. Yeah, it is just cosmetic, okay, just for demonstrating that it works. And then I send that. Take a look here. I have another remote procedure group. This calls cluster 01, where I have another input port, which is this one. You can see here, it is an input port from C02. Then let me stop that just for a second, and for demonstrating how we have to do the same thing that we did in the other side. So when I am connecting that, okay, in the drop-down menu, I have to see the input ports available in C01, in the cluster 1, sorry. So if I add it here, yeah, now I put that in play and I enable transmissions. And then when I started receiving those messages from here, it will return to here, and it will be injected in the merge content. Finally, the messages will arrive here in that kiwi, where I have more than 1,000 messages. I didn't notice that before. If I go to the list kiwi, I will have to have, let me see, for instance, I think this new one, I don't know. I don't remember if the newest one was at the top or at the bottom. I'm sorry, I forget that. Let me see that here. For instance, oh no, yeah, it is lineage duration, kiwi duration. Okay, in a kiwi for close to 4 hours. Oh yeah, I think this is the new one. And if I go to see the content, no, this is the one that it has both things, view content. I can see the hello wall and the bye-bye message. Yeah, maybe this is an old one, I think. Let me recheck this one. Yeah, it is just the hello world. Why do I have that here? It is because it is not correlated. Oh, let me go to see the... I'm not very familiarized with how NiFi works, really. It's not my expertise. Filing. Let me see. This content is, yeah, oh yeah, this is an old one, because the new one is not correlated this way. And then just for view details, yeah, and I want to see the role now. Yeah, it responds. So it is a message that comes from this flow, just for demonstrating that. Yeah, here you have timestamps. No, here I expect to have the timestamps. No, just relative amount of time in the queues, not much more than that. Here I can see the message again, all that stuff. Anyway, I think it is demonstrated how it has to work and how it works. This queue, it has been started to be consumed, and not much more in this video demonstration. I hope you had the chance to understand how to send and receive messages from two isolated clusters of NiFi.